Hey guys, this is Anonymous Silence 4572, and this is going to be the first of my new series of toy reviews for characters based on the Godzilla series, and I will also be doing figures based on the Gamera series, but primarily this will be Godzilla oriented. So for my first review today, I figured we'd do something a little special. Today I have decided to do a review on the original Bandai Showa King Ghidorah from 1984. So, in case you guys aren't familiar with the history behind this particular figure, this isn't the original 1984 Ghidorah figure. This figure is, I want to say this is the 1988 reissue of it. It's definitely not the original. And I can tell because, for one thing, the mouths, I don't know if you can see, the mouths aren't fully painted red. Just the tongues. The tongues are painted red, but otherwise the mouth is the same color as the plastic. And also the gold isn't nearly as shiny. I got this figure at G-Fest for about $80, and I know that that's rather expensive for a figure like this, but given what it goes for on eBay, I consider that to be a deal. So let's get started. For detail, I already went over the fact that my figure in particular is I don't know if you can see that well, but the gold is wearing in some spots, like see there on the leg. The gold paint is wearing in some areas on the figure, so it's not completely gold. The necks are actually really interesting because, well, actually also the base of the wings as well. The base of the wings and the necks are painted, like the front of the necks are painted in a much darker gold color than the rest of the body. I think that is a really interesting detail. You got all the scales in there. Compared to King Ghidorah figures we see nowadays, like the Heisei Ghidorah and the GMK Ghidorah, this isn't extremely well detailed, but it's certainly something for what it was. The heads are definitely the most unique aspect of this figure, considering that this mold was reused for the original Heisei Ghidorah in the early 90s. The heads are actually really well sculpted for the time being. The heads are really well sculpted. There we go. They capture the look really well of that Eastern dragon appearance, because King Ghidorah, in case for those of you who aren't familiar with the behind the scenes backstory of the character, Ghidorah was created as an homage to Orochi, the 8-headed serpent of Japanese mythology. So his direct inspiration was from Orochi, so that's why he looks the way he does. You know, we got the manes that were signature of the Showa Ghidorah design, and I really like them. Only thing I'm not really a fan about are the eyes. The eyes. Hold on. Give it some time to focus. Come on. Oh, almost had it. There we go. I don't know if you can see, but the eyes make him look really. He almost looks tired, like he's like he wants to fall asleep. It's actually kind of funny, but the wings, oh, I didn't even notice the tips of the wings also had the same dark gold paint as the base of the wings and the necks. The wings aren't extremely large. They're actually kind of small for Ghidorah. I mean, they're not Kaiser Ghidorah small, but they're definitely smaller than you'd normally expect. He's got the spikes on the top of the head. I mean, they probably couldn't have done it any other way, but I'm not really a big fan of these spikes. They're kind of... I mean, the whole figure's outdated by today's standards, but I don't know. Move down. You got the same dark gold. I don't know what's up with this dark gold, to be honest, that's used throughout the figure. I mean, I guess it's for highlights, but it's in the most random spots. Anyway, got the gold, extends down to the tail. I don't know what the hell is up with the tip of the tail, though. This doesn't look like... Maybe it's because I haven't watched Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster in a long time, but I don't remember Ghidorah having these at the end of his tails. I always remember him having the whatchamacallit, the rug beaters. The rug beaters he's known for having. One thing to note about these old vintage figures, and on King Ghidorah especially, the legs... Well, the lower body in specific, but the legs mainly are known for having this forward walking posture. Like, he looks like he's stepping forward. I have a feeling that that's not because of the figure itself. I have a feeling that's more to do because of the vinyl, because I don't know if you can see there on the in, I don't know if you can tell, but it's apparent here. On the inside of the leg, the vinyl seems to be caving in. I don't really know how to describe it. I don't even know how it's possible. You have to heat the figure up pretty hard, because pretty good, because these old 80s and these old 80s and early 90s Bandai vinyls, these are made of hard vinyl. So yeah, I don't know whether or not the leg, this was intentional or not on Bandai's part. I don't think it was, but considering that, I really don't want to take a chance at trying to fix it. I'm just going to leave it alone. It doesn't really detract from the figure all that much. Actually, I think it kind of... Personally, I think it gives it a little more personality, but I think it's more likely than not that it's a defect. Not a defect, just an error on the part of the manufacturers. Anyway, articulation. So this Ghidorah mold, I should say, because this isn't necessarily a unique figure in and of itself, but the mold is unique, if that makes any sense. This Ghidorah can actually move at the base of his necks. Like, all three of the heads can move at the base. Right here. Where the neck plugs into the body. All three of them can move. I really like that. It's not something we see on most Ghidorah figures nowadays, like the Heisei Ghidorah or the GMK Ghidorah, or especially the Monsterverse Ghidorah. You don't see it often. So yeah, all three of the heads can move, which is awesome. You can get more expression out of this figure if you use it in stop motions. The wings can move. The wings can move. They can flap up and down, just like this. Fold them back. Typical feature. Something that Bandai collectors are known for. It's a good idea if you want to save space on the shelf, because this is already a big enough figure as is. You don't need him to be cramming up the shelf space anymore. I do this with this figure and the Heisei Ghidorah that I also own. The legs move, kind of standard fare for a Bandai figure. The tail rotates like this, so hang on. If you want to get him into flying poses, you can, although it doesn't really look that great unless you're like having him come up and over. If that makes any sense. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points. 8 points for a vinyl figure. That's that's pretty good. I don't see too many Bandai figures with that level of articulation nowadays. I mean, the Bandai Creations Mechagodzilla 74 and King Caesar have comparable levels, but for 1984, this isn't bad. All right. Next part is scaling. All right. So for scaling, this Ghidorah, I don't really have any 8-inch Godzillas that I could compare this guy to. And besides, he doesn't really go well with those figures anyway. So I got a bunch of 6-inch figures to compare him to. So first up, Godzilla 1968 from the movie Monster series. Yeah, this is pretty good scaling. In universe, Godzilla is 50 meters. Ghidorah is supposed to be 100 meters, but on screen, he looks to be more of like 80 meters. I don't really know, but he definitely doesn't look to be. If he was really 100 meters, the base of his neck would have to be to the top of Godzilla's head. But if you want to just go for like how he looked in the movie, for how they both looked in Destroy All Monsters and Godzilla vs. Gigan, then yeah, this works. This is really good scaling. Get Godzilla out of here. Next up, probably already saw him because I accidentally moved the camera. Gigan 72. This is the 2018 Gigan. Yeah, very good. Again, in universe, Ghidorah is supposed to be 100 meters, and Gigan is supposed to be 65 meters. So yeah, this works well, especially if you're going for more of the screen accurate appearance than the contemporary sources like in books and whatnot. So yeah, that's good. Now, another figure. Let's bust out Anguirus just to complete the Godzilla vs. Gigan motif. Here's MMS Anguirus. Allegedly, Anguirus was, I think, I'm going to have to double check this, but I think he was 20 meters from on all fours from head to foot. I think he was 20 meters. I know for a fact that Anguirus is supposed to be 60 meters standing up. So this works. This really works, especially if you want to recreate the scene from Destroy All Monsters when Ghidorah is stomping on him. Let's bust out 2 more figures just for shits and giggles. Let's get out Baragon for purposes of Destroy All Monsters. Yeah, no, this doesn't work. This does not work. Baragon. I mean, Baragon allegedly was, I believe, 20 meters. He was supposed to be 20 meters in Destroy All Monsters, but if you put him up next to Godzilla, he's supposed to, the top of his head is supposed to be up to Godzilla's chin. So this really doesn't work. I mean, even if you just take into consideration how big the suit was compared to how big the suits were compared to each other and not the actual in-universe statistics, then even then this doesn't work. But if you really don't care and you just want an imposing Ghidorah to go up against Baragon, this is fine. This works. Now, for one last figure, let's get out Gamera. Yeah, this is alright. Gamera was 60 meters in the Showa series, so I think this works well to the favor of King Ghidorah. Well, not in the favor of King Ghidorah, but this does work well if you're trying to make a fan film. Gamera versus King Ghidorah. So yeah. that's it for sizing. All in all, I'm gonna have to give this figure a 4 out of 5. It gets points for good articulation, decent sculpting, alright scaling with figures. Only thing I'm not too jazzed about is the fact that because it's hard, is that the leg here is like caving into itself. That's not really, I mean, from if you're just looking at it from most angles, it doesn't look bad. You'd have to really be looking for it, but just the fact that it's there, and also the fact that he doesn't really scale up with any of the monsters he was originally sold alongside back in the 80s, it's, I don't know. It doesn't, historically, it doesn't really, this figure isn't, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm rambling on too long. But yeah, this figure gets a 4 out of 5. If you're gonna go look for him, definitely try and hunt him down for as cheap as you can. I would have to say no more than $80 max, and that's not just because of the price I paid for him, but because it's really not worth more than that. It's a vinyl figure. It's not like an SH Monster Arts figure. It's a vinyl. And it's a really old one, too. So, I mean, yeah, definitely no more than $80, $85 max for this figure. So, yeah, this has been a review by Anonymous Silence 4572. Peace out.